What I got, you can't buy. It resides between my eyes. Walked through the fire, came out better on the other side. See, life's like a beach if you find the sand. And right now, I'm feeling like 100 grand.
You are listening to Inspired Insider with your host, Dr. Jeremy Wise.
Dr. Jeremy Wise here, founder of InspiredInsider.com, where I talk with inspirational entrepreneurs and leaders. Today is no different. I have Kirk Allen of Reshift Media. You can check him out at reshiftmedia.com. Kirk, before I formally introduce you, I always like to point out other episodes people should check out of the podcast. Since this is part of the Top Agency series, a couple really good ones. I had Aditi Clevitt on. She is an agency. She does done-for-you SOPs. Kirk, you know, the non-sexy stuff that helps us run the business. So she'll go in, help document all the companies or whatever companies they want, their SOPs with the staff and the owner. So that's a great episode. We shared our favorite productivity tools, software. Another really good one was Todd Taskey. Todd Taskey helps match private equity with agencies. He helps sell agencies. He's got the Second Bite podcast. He talks a lot about the exit and M&A space. And so that's a really good episode where he talks about the valuations, the agency space, and everything in between. Also, Jason Swank. Jason Swank talked about how he built up his agency to 8 figures and sold it, and then had been acquiring agencies, which is interesting. So check out that and many more on inspiredinsider.com. This episode is actually brought to you by Rise 25. Rise 25, we help businesses give to and connect to their dream relationships and partnerships. And how do we do that? We do that by helping you run your podcast. We're an easy button for a company to launch and run a podcast. We do the strategy, the accountability, and the full execution. And Kirk, we call ourselves the magic elves that run in the background and make it look easy for the host so they can run their business and create amazing content and develop great relationships. You know, for me, the number one thing in my life is relationships, and I'm always looking at ways to give to my best relationships. And I have found no better way over the past decade to profile the people and companies I most admire and share with the world what they're working on. So if you've thought about podcasting, you should. If you have questions, go to rise25.com or email us at support@rise25.com. I'm excited to introduce Kirk Allen. He's a former member of the Canadian Franchise Association, board of directors, and co-founder of Reshift Media. Reshift Media is an award-winning digital marketing agency based in Toronto, and their latest accolades include 2-time winner of the Best Franchise Marketing Firm at the Global Franchise Awards. And Reshift has actually developed some proprietary digital marketing platform to generate leads, which is designed specifically for franchise companies. And I'm excited to share Reshift Media and Kirk. Kirk, thanks for joining me.
Well, thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
We'll talk about how everything began, but first, just give people a little overview on Reshift Media and what you do.
Great. Thank you. So Reshift Media is a digital marketing firm based in Toronto. Everything we do is digital. So social media, search. Oh, that's great.
And by the way, if you're watching, just listening to the audio, there is a video version. And here we are on Reshift Media.
I'm super happy that you have our website up. Jeremy, if we would have had this interview a few years ago, we had our old website from when we first started 12 years ago. And it wasn't very good.
I'll have to go on the Wayback Machine and find it.
Yes, in the Wayback Machine, you can, in fact. Love that you know that, actually. But this is our new website we launched a couple of years ago, and we're very proud of it because it actually is something we do. We build, design websites, we do apps, of course, and anything to do with digital. So social media, SEO, SEM, and there's the award that you just scrolled by that I think maybe your folks found us as a result of this Best Franchise Marketing Firm in 2023. And we won again this past February in 2024. So we're a digital marketing firm, everything from websites, apps, social media, search, anything to do with digital marketing. That's what we do, sir.
So talk about, now that we're on the website and you redid the website after a number of years, what did you make sure to include in this redesign and revamping that wasn't there?
Lots of content, lots of testimonials. There's got to be 40 or 50 of them, but then examples of our work and case studies. So we are very proud that the first client we started with back in 2012, and we pride ourselves that they are still a customer of ours today, and that's the UPS store that you just scrolled by. So we build long-standing relationships, and we love seeing our customers grow. So in the franchising space, which is probably where the bulk of our customers lie, they start off with maybe 10, 20, 30 locations, and they all aspire to become bigger and sell more locations and open more locations. So we have many cases where we start with a brand that has a handful of locations, and today they may have 200, 300 locations. And we take pride in being part of that success, designing their website, making sure they're being found. So you ask about what we put into this. Well, a lot of our leads, new customers, come from the website, where people from different countries around the world will actually find us through our blog. So blog is a great way of generating fresh content for a website. And we do that for a lot of our customers as well, where we write regular blogs, feed it into the website, promote it on social media, and all of that works together for optimizing a search and helping that brand being found. And it's no different for ourselves. So it's a big part. The SEO plays a big part of the role here on a new website.
How did you get your first client? The first client's pretty big, being UPS.
Well, I've known the president here in Canada for a number of years, going back to my previous life. So I used to be in the newspaper business, and that's where I met the president of the UPS store. I worked for a newspaper in Montreal called the Montreal Gazette, and eventually moved up to Toronto to head up advertising sales and digital sales for CanWest, and eventually that became Post Media. And so, newspapers back in the day, they were powerful. So go back to 2012, and retailers would run ads in newspapers, and people would show up at their door. They had great reach, great readership, and they were very, very effective. So 2012, believe it or not, Jeremy, I was head of sales for Post Media, and I could see the advertising revenue shifting from paper, so traditional media, whether it was radio, TV, newspapers, into digital. So it was going to social media, it was going to brands' websites, it was going to Google, and of course, at the time, display. So the newspapers all built websites, and my current business partner, Steve Bures, who built Reshift with me, he was the one building all the websites for the newspapers, and I was getting the salespeople to sell ads, display ads on the newspapers, but it was really 10 cents on the dollar. So, you'd sell a full page ad in a newspaper for 10,000, but you'd sell a display campaign for $100 or $1,000. So it wasn't anywhere near the same kind of revenue. So at the time, we were proposing to open a digital arm of the newspapers where we would sell social media, search, and build websites. And I won't name the person, but one of the owners of the newspaper chain said, this is 2012, Jeremy, said there's no future in social media. 2012. So I left shortly after that. And Steve Bures, my business partner, and I opened Reshift Media, knowing that there was monies shifting from traditional media into digital. So when we opened Reshift in 2012, there weren't a lot of pure digital ad agencies. Traditional agencies may have had an arm that did digital, but they also outsourced a lot of the work because they didn't have the expertise. So that's how we started the business. Was we knew there was a shift in traditional media into digital, and the way we got our first customer was they were on their phone looking for their own stores, and their stores wouldn't come up in a search. And I said, we can help you fix that. Built a new website, got all set up on Google My Business. Back then, it was called something else. Google changed the name every year, it seems. Set them up on a proper website with local pages. And now that's the recipe, right? You have to have local pages for every store, helped with search. But that's how we actually got our first customer, was helping them, people find them through Google on a website, and rebuilt their website.
Kirk, did you take the plunge? Because again, you were in newspaper for probably over 25 years. Did you take the plunge before or after you got this client?
Always before. We opened our doors, we had no clients. Zero. We had, that's a good question. No one's ever asked me that question before. But no, we had no clients. And we had
timing's everything here. I don't know if you're married at the time. You have to go back and tell a significant other.
no,
Yeah, I'm just opening up with no clients. What does life look like when you took the plunge?
very risky. Very risky. So we have some private investors. So we actually went to market to say, hey guys, went to angel investors basically and said, we want to open this business. And here's the concept. And here we see the money shifting. Would you be interested in investing? We probably only made maybe 10, 12 pitches, and 5 people gave us money as seed capital. So we needed some money to get things started. We rented a nice office downtown Toronto. We had 6 full-time staff and 0 clients. But we knew that
so you came out swinging.
Oh yeah, we knew we had enough money to get through 6 months of operation. We knew that it would take us at least 6 months to find some potential clients, pitch them, do the work, and collect the money before we ran out of funds. So that's what we did. And at the beginning, it was tight. Of course, Steve and I didn't take a salary, but eventually we built up to the point where today we have about 200 customers in 20 countries around the world. And we get a lot of referrals.
So at what point did you get the first client then in this timeline? Because I would be worried. Like 6 months is not that long of a time period.
2 months. We had a customer within a few. We had half a dozen customers in the first 6 months.
Wow.
Yeah, not all big, right? Varying sizes, but we put a lot of sweat equity into all of these customers to do the best we could. And we have such a great team at Reshift. We have fantastic. The original staff, all but one are still there. All but 2 are still there, and they're fantastic. They have great teams. They hired great people, and we're blessed that we have such a strong team. They are leaders in every category. So we have the best social media person, the best search person, the best designer, best IT person and their team. So we can tackle any problem, and our customers love our team because when they ask a question, we typically have a solution. That's for sure. So,
and in the beginning, you are the salesperson, so you kind of have a handle of the sales and pricing, and then your partner on the kind of fulfillment side. So it seems like you had kind of both covered from the beginning, and then you hired people obviously under those categories.
Exactly. So, Steve, my business partner, this guy is so smart, such a great partner. So I'm out, seeing customers, and Steve is making sure the workings is being completed. He's our CEO, and we hired one head of search, one head of social, one designer, and one head of IT. Those were key pillars for the company. And then they went, as we grew at the beginning, we didn't have the luxury of having people below each one of them. Today, we're probably 40 staff, I'll say. But as we grew, we added staff. Sometimes we're hard to get the work out the door, but we were very cautious, and we don't outsource anything. So we don't have everything we do is in-house. We don't offshore anything. So everyone works for Reshift Media here in Canada. We now have the luxury of hiring a few people across the country to get the best possible talent. So we have someone, Vancouver, Ireland, all the way to Nova Scotia and in between. But the bulk of our staff are here in Toronto.
Talk about retention and culture for a second, because as you said, some of those first core staff members most of them are still there. And what are some of the things that you do as a company that helps with retention and culture?
Well, I think for one is the staff can learn so much from not only our senior team, but our wide array of customers we have. So they aren't stuck working on a single account. They're working on multiple brands in different categories. So the amount of learning that happens for the staff because of the variety of customers we have is really key. The learning they get from our staff is second to none, because they really are experts in their field, and they're very sharing. They want to see their staff grow, and then we try to have some fun too. So one of the things we do is we have events. We usually have a winter event, a summer event. A couple of years ago, we rented a boat, went around Toronto Harbor. We usually have a barbecue every summer. We've gone axe throwing. We went tubing up north, which was a blast. So we all went tubing, and then had a hamburger and beer after, and then we all went home after that. And then every once in a while, we have virtual events. So we've had a magician, join our weekly call. We've done things like that, play different word games online. So we work hard, but we also like to have some fun along the way. But I think the real value for our team is the learning we get from the various customer, challenges, and also from the senior team as well.
You've obviously very experienced and been doing this over a decade in the franchise space. So you've seen a bunch of trends. So I'd love to hear, I don't know, maybe recent trends, maybe someone listening's wanting to do their next business idea, or maybe have someone give them some creative juices with what you see trends in the franchising space.
Well, I would say in the last few years, franchising is pretty hot. Like in terms of people looking to buy into a franchise, it is at an all-time high. Circle back to before COVID, and different companies have franchise show. So the Canadian Franchise Association has a few shows a year. 2 in Toronto, 2 out west, 1 in Calgary, where the brands would go and say, "Hey, I've got the best franchise for you to buy." And before COVID, the attendance of those shows was in decline. COVID hits, they stopped, and then things opened up again, and they started back up. the attendance at these shows has been at an all-time high. Like, for example, the Canadian Franchise Association shows are more attendance than ever before. And then we see it on the marketing side as well. So, if, Google Trends, people buy my own business, work from home, work for myself, best franchise to buy. So we're seeing trends such as service-based businesses is pretty hot right now. So not having to own a brick and mortar location. Now, there's still lots of brick and mortar franchises out there, especially in the QSR business. They're doing great. Have done exceptionally well through COVID, especially if they had a drive-through, and delivery is really big. So, there are people who've got more capital, and if you've got $500,000 or $1 million, you can open a really nice top brand QSR and do very well for you and your family. For those who don't want to own a physical location, service-based brands, whether it's window cleaning or painting, those types of companies are doing exceptionally well right now because there's a lower cost of entry. You don't have the build-out cost, and they typically, have it figured out where, there's customers out there looking to have their houses painted or their windows cleaned or their lawns cut, or there's all sorts of different businesses, right? So they are quite popular right now. But franchising in general, to be your own boss, so you're in business by yourself, but not for yourself, but not by yourself. So in other words, you're the boss of that franchise, but there's a proven formula on how it operates. So whether it's the UPS store, or whether it's Dogtopia, which is a great dog daycare franchise in North America, there's businesses out there, and it seems that COVID kind of forced people to think about: do I really want to work for someone else and risk losing my job if that business goes under? Owning your own business, like a franchise, is a great way because someone else has done the work to make sure it's a viable business, and you've got some money and you're your own boss. So we work with a lot of franchise systems, and I sat on the board of directors for the Canadian Franchise Association for a number of years. Was the chair of the supplier committee. Was very involved in everything from advocacy, where we're on Parliament Hill talking with politicians about the size of franchise in Canada. It's actually the 12th largest industry in Canada, franchising. So it's huge, and employs a lot of people in Canada. And we're fortunate to be working with some of the top brands in franchising. So it's a great industry, and a great business to be in.
I'm going to share this. I had some research pulled up here, Kirk. I'm not sure how accurate it is, obviously, but let me share this. And I'm curious, what are some other examples? You gave a few of the service-based businesses, but we're looking at, this says fastest growing franchises right now today. It may change in the future, obviously. Mm-hmm. And this is on Entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And a lot of these are actually service ones. You have Stratus Building Solutions, environmentally friendly commercial cleaning and disinfecting. It's showing right now as the #1 fastest growing. I haven't fact checked the accuracy of this. This is on entrepreneur.com. Then you have Crumble Cookies, Jersey Mike's, which I was surprised about this one. Dream Vacations, travel agencies. I'm like, how is that #4? And then, like you mentioned, this actually commercial clean. There's #5 and 6 are commercial cleaning. Actually, one, 5, and 6 are all commercial cleaning. And then you have Stroll with this, some kind of monthly publication. Then Kona Ice, which I've actually hired them to have a shaved ice truck. Taco Bell and scooters. So
Yeah.
Does this list surprise you? Does it look accurate?
No, and Entrepreneur is great, by the way. Their list, they have like the best restaurant franchise. They have the fastest growing franchise. They have the best emerging franchises. So this doesn't surprise me at all. Jersey Mike's just came into Canada, by the way.
I love Jersey
They had
Mike's. Yeah.
a couple locations, and they are now expanding into Canada. Dream Vacations, I would imagine that's a work from home. You see the initial investment, $2,000.
Yeah.
So that's probably work from home, be a travel agent. They supply leads and a website and that sort of thing. But service-based businesses, and the top five there are, more industrial. And there's all the home-based ones, right? So as you would scroll down, there would be, different ones that would be, servicing the
There's a Surf
residential.
Pro, looks like something.
Yeah, yeah, that's fire
Oh,
restoration.
there's another travel agency, Cruise
Yeah.
Planners. I'm
Yeah.
shocked.
Yeah, I know. Their lists are quite good. In fact, we're listed in Entrepreneur under top franchise marketing or technology firms. I think we're number 12 or something like that. But there's the UPS store, and you go down, and there's some really, really good ones. But this is an excellent list. Entrepreneur slices and dices it by category, and they've got a lot of data. So this is what I like about Entrepreneur. It is voted upon. So it's not like you pay, you get to the top of the list. There's actually a voting that takes place in order to make it on the list. Yeah.
I'm actually surprised by a bunch of these. You mentioned Dogtopia. Can you talk about some of the work and what you do with them?
Yeah, so Dogtopia, when we started working with them, I think they had 37 locations. But today they're well over 250, with a lot in the pipeline still to open. But we do everything for them. We built their website, we got their digital presence in order. We do their advertising for them. And in fact, the Global Franchise Award, the case study we did for them about lead generation, because they're looking for people to bring their dogs to their daycares, and it's such a cool place. They've got like 3 rooms: little dogs, medium-sized dogs, and big dogs. And so you basically take your dog to Dogtopia, and they spend the day there. They have a spa there, so you want to get your dog groomed during the day, you can. It's a fantastic concept. So we've done everything in terms of digital for them over the years, and very proud to say we've seen them grow over the years. And in fact, the Global Franchise Award is a direct result of the lead generation campaign we do for their local locations.
Kirk, talk about that for a second. I mean, even if someone's not a franchise, what are some of the mistakes and things that worked from a lead generation standpoint? And maybe talk to Dogtopia. What worked from lead generation that any companies besides franchises should be doing for their business?
That's a really good question. So, often the shiny object, people think, oh, we should be, on TikTok because it's the newest, and my kids are on TikTok. But sometimes the newest and latest platforms may not be at that time the best choice. So today, Meta, so Facebook and Instagram, you'll get people saying, "Oh, aren't they declining?" And kids aren't using it anymore. Well, yes, maybe kids aren't on Facebook as much anymore, but they're certainly on Instagram. And the audience that Dogtopia is trying to reach, they're certainly on Facebook, and very easy to target people who, like dogs or like pets in a certain demographic, age, gender, and geography. So what we like about, Meta, for example, is you can target just around a 5 mile radius around a Dogtopia, which is the general catchment area, combined with Google. If someone looks for dog daycare or dog boarding or dog grooming, up comes a Dogtopia ad for that local area. But you have to do testing. So there's not one silver bullet, and we've done a lot of testing over the years to make sure we've got it really honed in. And we are testing TikTok as well. But you kind of go back to the old tried and proven platforms like Meta and Google AdWords that work very, very well, especially in their case, lead generation. They want someone to fill in a form, come in for a visit with their dog, and then sign up to take their dog to daycare. So it depends on every client's a little bit different. We have some customers where, let's say QSRs, and they want to track, these guys track leads, but let's say QSR want to track actual sales. And most of their, let's say a pizza place, most of their sales nowadays are online, right? People order and have a pizza delivered. Well, they want to know how many sales did I generate from that campaign and what's the value of those sales. So you can, put on a Facebook conversion pixel and track stuff like that. So we've developed a platform called the Brand Amplifier, where a local franchisee can run a local Meta, Google, soon to be TikTok in their local market, and be able to track not only how many people they've reached and how many times they saw the ad, what are the sales generated from that campaign. And for think of a local franchisee, this is like this is the dream, right? Now I know I spent $1,000 in the month of July and it generated X number of sales and X number of new customers. So the tracking available today, and that depends on your POS and depends on some integrations, but to be able to track to that degree is fantastic, right? And so for local franchisee, they're always like, well, I don't know what I got for my investment. Well, now you can find that out. So our brand amplifier has been a big, big part of our success, Jeremy, for local franchisees to run pre-approved, on-brand, current promotions in their local market using their own credit card. So head office doesn't have to chase them around for money. They actually pay for the ads using their own credit card, and they're all pre-approved and they work. So that's been part of our growth as well.
Now, is that a self-serve or are you running it for them?
It can be self-serve where they just log in. We would be the ones creating ads for them, or it could be used as SaaS. So in some cases, they would have an agency or head office has a large social media department who builds the ads in the platform, and the local franchisee would be given access and they log in. If they're a multi-unit owner, they would have access to all their locations and self-serve from the franchisee point of view. But it could also be run by the QSR as a SaaS if they want, or we can provide the service if they don't have that capacity.
So there could be agencies that will use your platform and pay you like from a SaaS perspective.
Oh yeah. We have a lot of agents that do that because they find that when you run, that's a really good question. So often an agency takes the easy way out and they run a national campaign that's not localized. So they run the ads where they've got locations or a city where they have locations, but they don't go to the trouble of really, zoning in on exactly that local market and it's proven every campaign that we've run, the results from a local campaign will be better than from a national campaign, simply because of the localization and the relevance of that local campaign to the audience that sees it. Just imagine you see an ad on Facebook or Instagram, and it's got the brand name and the address or the cross streets. Oh, there's one right here. So you don't have to go to find a location near you. With every click, you're going to lose people. So this way, the relevance is there, the targeting is there, no wasted ad dollars, and the franchisees love it because it's effective. And these agencies have a better, more effective campaign.
So Kirk, in this sense, let's say there is an agency listening to this and like, I want to use Kirk's platform. Where do they go? Do they go to reshiftmedia.com, or is there a separate site? Or
we have a separate site, brandamplifier.io, brandamplifier.io, or just find me on LinkedIn. Cool. Find me on LinkedIn, or go to, either way, there's multiple ways to find us. Go to the reshiftmedia.com, fill in a form, go to brandamplifier.io, go to LinkedIn.
This is it right here.
Contact us and fill in a form.
This is it right here. I'm looking
at. That's it.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So everyone, if you are an agency, I mean, obviously, if you don't want to touch this stuff, obviously you call, Kirk and their team, and they can do it all for you. But if you are an agency and you want to use their platform, that's available. One thing that stuck out to me on your website, Kirk, was the social media contests and promotions. I'm wondering if there is a favorite throughout the years that's a innovative, cool contest or promotion that you want to talk about.
Boy, we've done so many. And the funny thing is, Jeremy, sometimes the ones that you don't think will be successful blow the numbers out of the water. And there was one. It was a promotion for dog tick medication.
Yeah.
And it was called Lone Star Louie was the character. And we said, oh, this is not going to work. The numbers were off the charts. Good old Lone Star Louie, who came over, from Mexico and came up through the U.S. to, hop onto dogs, was a huge, huge hit. It was one of those where you go, oh my God. Like, look at all the shares, look at all the likes.
Why do you think it hit like that?
I don't, sometimes the targeting is very good with Meta, right? So it was dog owners. So that certainly gave us a leg up. And the character that was designed was quite good and catchy as well. But I think contests, sometimes you really, people talk about, oh, it's going to go viral. Things don't go viral, man. Like you got to put money against it to make things go viral. So that's I want my campaign to go viral. It just doesn't happen like that. So sometimes the best campaign you think is going to be great is a dud. So there's so many factors, and it's hard to know what caused the campaign to fail. Sometimes, usually, the ones that fail, the why, but the ones that succeed sometimes surprise you.
I'm trying to pull it up here to see. I think I have
Louis, it's still around.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
I think what's interesting is with this, I'm gonna share my screen here, and we can take a quick look at it, because I had one of the founders of the Harmon Brothers on, and kind of echoing what you said. They have a lot of, you think of Squatty Potty and Poopery and those ones that, like you said, quote, if you look them on YouTube, they have millions and millions and millions of views across them. But when I was talking to him, he's like, they put a ton of traffic behind it, right? So when people are like, oh, this went viral, yeah, well, if you're spending $1 million, it makes it a little bit easier, right?
Yeah,
And then it takes on a life of its own a little bit, but it's got to reach a certain critical mass from what he was saying.
yeah, you're absolutely right. They take off, but there's typically money behind it. There's typically an ad spend. It's kind of like what's that deodorant? I'm trying to think of it.
Dr. Squatch.
No,
Uh,
but that one took off, but there was huge amount of ad budget behind it too. So
this is the one that we're looking at. Is this the right one?
I'm not sure if that's the character. Yeah,
Okay.
that's the character, but that's not the specific campaign. But yeah,
Well, there's a Canadian flag on that.
yeah, there he is traveling to Canada. Yeah, craziness.
Yeah, this must be it.
Yeah, yeah.
The new tick in
New,
town.
new tick in town. That's right. Good,
All right.
good for you. But yeah, it's sometimes you don't know why something takes off, but typically there's people don't know this, but there's usually an ad spend behind it. Yeah.
First of all, Kirk, I have one last question for you. Before I ask it, I just want to point people to check out reshiftmedia.com to learn more and all things there. And my last question is about resources. Throughout your career, I'm curious, some of your favorite resources. It could be a mentor, colleague, it could be a book, it could be a software. What are some of your favorite resources that you used in your business journey?
A big part of our success has been the Canadian Franchise Association. And getting involved with them, you learn so much. So it's one thing to be a member, Jeremy, but we became members of the CFA 6 months into our business. And that was driven by David Drucker, the president of the UPS store, said, Kirk, you should join the CFA because you're going to learn a ton and probably make some great contacts. And so we did join, and then we became national sponsors. And then we got involved in all sorts of different committees at the CFA. So, getting involved, being a member is one thing, but getting involved, and you learn so much from getting involved. It's amazing. And the contacts you make, many of which are friends of ours, are friends of mine and ours for life. So, I've made so many, but learned so much, and we've generated a lot of business over the years. And you build up a pretty good reputation over time, right? And then business comes to you. Like people basically go, call Kirk or call the Reshift guys, call Steve, call Jen, call Gally. And that has been as a resource. And then the other one is the IFA, so the International Franchise Association, has been very, very good as well. And we typically speak at all of these conventions. And the way we position ourselves is being credible and experts on a particular subject matter. So we never go up there and go, oh, Reshift Media, we're the best. We go up there and talk about, best practices in franchise development, or, best SEO practices for a website. And you actually, by doing that, you build up a good reputation. And you mentioned at the beginning, Jeremy, that, your contacts and relationships are huge. And I could not agree with you more. And an old boss of mine, Dennis Skulski, who was my boss at CanWest, he was the president of CanWest, so the newspapers, said to me, Kirk, at the end of the day, all you have is your reputation. And that has huge value on its own. And really, Jeremy, we're all brands unto ourselves. So you, myself, are brands, even though we have companies and we work for companies. At the end of the day, it's you, it's me. Individuals are all brands unto themselves. So that's something that stuck with me from many, many years ago, and has been, guiding me along the way to make sure don't burn any bridges behind you. Make sure that you're always delivering on your promises, and it's been a lot of fun to date, and we continue to grow. And I really love being on your podcast. So thank you for this opportunity.
Thanks, Kirk. I love that. All you have is your reputation, and also some of the lessons you learned with just joining like-minded industry organizations, whatever niche someone's in. That's proven to me to be, really the best use of my time is to surround myself with like-minded individuals in certain industries. So thank you, Kirk. Everyone can check out reshiftmedia.com, more episodes of the podcast, and we will see everyone next time. And Kirk, thanks so much.
Thanks a lot. Take care.
What I got, you can't buy. It resides between my eyes. Walked through the fire, came out better on the other side. See, life's like a beach if you find the sailing right now. I feel like 100 grand.